If you value your lungs, don't move anywhere between Nephi and Tremont in Utah. The air is bad almost all year. Utah has the highest cost of living and taxes of all the red states. And if you're not part of the predominant religion, you're socially excluded. That's not my comments. That's an actual comment from one of my YouTube viewers who's lived here for 20 years and is about to move away. Hey, on today's video, I'm going to talk about the reasons why some people are choosing to leave Provo and Utah in general, but then I'll also talk about some of the reasons why people choose to move here or stay here despite those challenges. So what makes Utah's air so bad sometimes? We have winter inversions that traps all the smog and pollution down in the valleys. We have about 5 to 6 of those a year. And then we also have wildfires that trap a lot of smoke in the air. And sometimes we deal with some, ozone issues. In fact, it says here, Utah regularly experiences 5 to 6 multi-day winter inversion events. So this leading to an average of 18 days with these particle levels above the national safety limits. So ozone levels exceeded EPA thresholds across the northern Wasatch Front during the summer, including the Provo area. So fine particulate pollution in Salt Lake increased 6% between 2014 and 2016. And 2021-23 driven by mobile sources, wildfires, and inversions. So a single refinery was found responsible for up to 25% of winter smog particulates, highlighting industrial contributors to air quality issues. So yeah, for sure, we have some air quality issues. My one commenter said one of the reasons he was moving away is because of the constant winter inversions. Again, we have 5 or 6 of those every winter. They don't last forever. Generally, we have a storm that comes in and blows them out and gets rid of them. But yeah, if you've got some lung issues, some breathing issues, wintertime might be really difficult for you here in Utah. Now, one of the other things too is we do have summer wildfire season. In fact, yesterday there was a wildfire just in the mountains just above Springville and the Provo area that sparked up, and of course that's dropping a lot of smoke pollution throughout the valleys. And we have that generally every summer, whether we have a fire right here super close to us or 50 miles or 70 miles or 200 miles away. Maybe in other states we deal with smoke that blows into Utah throughout the summer months. Some years it's worse than others. Last year didn't seem to be that bad of a year, but this year we've had several wildfires. We have the Monroe Mountain fire south of us down by Fish Lake that's been burning for the last month, providing a lot of smoke pollution to the area. Then of course we just had this fire that started up last night. So one of the reasons some people choose to move away from Provo area is because of the poor air quality, but there's so many days where it's just clear and beautiful. So just something to keep in mind. All right, let's talk about the cost of living. In fact, I just made a video on the cost of living here in Utah in 2025. I'll put a link somewhere up above where you can go watch that video. Yes, the cost of living is high, and that's really driven by housing prices, but let me just read a few things. Utah's overall cost of living index is around 95.8, lower than many states, though much of its metro areas have now surpassed the 100 national baseline. A 2021 study shows the average personal living cost in Utah is $42,653 a year, about half of the median household income. Utah's flat income tax rate is 4.55%, and combined state and local sales taxes average between 6.1 to 8.35%. But Utah ranks mid-tier, number 16 in overall tax competitiveness among all states. I think really what's driving most people feeling that it's unaffordable here is the housing. That's where prices have gone up, and it is more expensive here than many areas. We were just in the Midwest and saw home prices that really were shocking compared to what we see here. Our median home price is getting closer to $600,000 up and down the Wasatch Front. That's for just a very modest single-family home. A lot of people are having to begin their home search with condominiums and townhomes to get in the market, and those prices are in the $300 to $450 range just for starter condos and townhomes. Single-family homes, like I say, the median home price is around $600,000, but you can regularly find homes that are $700,000, $800,000, $900,000. That not too many years ago would have been considered almost starter level homes. So the home prices have definitely ticked up, which is causing just affordability issues. There's people that are seeking opportunities elsewhere and more affordable areas for housing. If you go back to Kentucky and Tennessee and West Virginia and a lot of the Midwest states, you'll find much more affordable housing compared to lots of places in the West, and that includes Utah. Also, of course, our cost of living is up there with inflation when it comes to groceries. There's a lot of pretty much everywhere I think has experienced grocery prices going up, so that's part of the whole deal. But I think the biggest cost of living shock for most people here in Utah is just the housing. It's really gotten expensive. Thinking about relocating to Utah? Well, I've got just the thing for you. My team and I have actually taken the time to create the ultimate relocation guide, which is meant to save you hours of research. And I've linked it down below, from top employers to the best hospitals and a boatload of other things that you need to know before making the move. The best part is this guide is 100% free. That's right, you heard me right, 100% free. Just click the link in the description on the top pinned comment. Hope that helps. Okay, let's address this commenter's comments about not being a part of the predominant religion. Here's some numbers for you. A recent study indicates that approximately 42% of Utahns identify as members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, LDS, also known as Mormons. This percentage is lower than previous estimates, including the church's own membership numbers, which are significantly higher. The discrepancy arises from different methodologies. The study focuses on self-identification, while the church's figures include all baptized members, even those who may not actively practice or identify with the religion. I'm just reading that off of the internet. So there's over 3 million people that live in Utah, and according to this study, 42% of them identify as LDS. There's more than that that are actually on the church records. Now, when it comes to Provo, its population estimate of LDS or Mormon members is estimated to be around 80 to 88%. This is definitely higher than the state average. Part of that is because Provo is home to Brigham Young University, the church's four-year university. That brings a lot of people who identify with the LDS church to the area. So just be aware that, yeah, there's a huge influence of the LDS population here in Utah, particularly in the Provo area. In fact, you will see LDS churches almost on every block, every corner. Sometimes you see the churches that'll be backed up right next to each other. And they even have, if you go by all the high schools, every single high school is going to have an LDS seminary right next to it. And this is where kids of members of the church can go and have religious training during a regular school day, something you just don't see in other parts of the country. As far as being excluded, I mean, full disclosure, I'm a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, so I actually take a little bit of offense at that comment, because I feel like we really go out of our way to try to be very accommodating and welcoming to everybody that comes here. There's many people around me that live near me that are not members. We've always invited them to activities, to ward events, so that they will be a part of it, and sometimes they just choose not to. I don't want to discount someone's experience, because certainly they may be having a poor experience here, and for that I will apologize personally. I don't want anyone to have a bad experience. I want everyone to enjoy living here, but for some people, they just can't get over the hurdle of the fact that there are a lot of members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints here in Utah, particularly in the Provo-Orem metro area. And that is one reason why some people choose to leave the state. Now, I actually had another comment come in this morning where he mentioned one of the reasons why he doesn't like living in Utah is because there's no nightlife. And also he was very unhappy with not being able to buy marijuana on every corner. So, you know, honestly, every time I go visit family in Las Vegas and I smell the smell of marijuana everywhere, I'm glad I don't live there. People live here in Utah because they like the conservative culture. They don't want to have a big nightlife. But if that's something that you're looking for, just be aware that when you come here, you're not going to find a lot of bars. There's very strict alcohol laws here by the state. In fact, you can only buy liquor at state liquor stores. You can buy some like beer at grocery stores and gas stations, but if you want wine and liquor and tequila and things of that nature, you're going to have to go to one of the, I think there's 5 state-run liquor stores in Utah County. So those are things that come as a real shock to people, and sometimes it's just something they don't want to deal with, so they opt to move away. So yeah, nightlife is one issue that causes people to move away. One of the other things I would say is, and I try to stay very neutral on my, at least politically, on my YouTube page, and not talk a lot about politics, but honestly, Utah is a very conservative state. It almost always votes red in presidential elections. It has also in the gubernatorial elections. In fact, the last Democratic governor is when I was a kid, and that was Scott Matheson back in late 70s. And Utah hasn't voted for a Democratic governor since then. And pretty much all the senators and state representatives are also Republicans, and so it's a very conservative state. And so if you move here and you're more progressive leaning or left leaning, you might find that very difficult living here. feeling like you're in the minority, and you are in the minority that way. So just be aware of that with Utah. It's a conservative red state, just something to be aware of. Hey there, it's Scott Walters with Best USA Realty, your Utah YouTubing realtor. And as much as I love making these videos, there's one thing that I love more, and that's helping families and people from all over the US to move here. I've helped countless families move, so whether you're thinking of moving next week, next month, or even next year, don't hesitate to reach out. My contact is right here on the screen, and it's linked in the description down below, just in case you missed the pop-up. I look forward to helping you and your family make the move here to Utah. You know, another reason that some people are choosing to move away from here is just because it's growing. Utah is still very much growing. We have the net migration. We got more people coming here than are leaving. Still have a lot of births in this state, and so that's also driving up the population. But with all that growth, it's just bringing a tremendous amount of pressure on the infrastructure as far as transportation goes. The freeways, you know, the interstates, the state roads, they are all just very congested. If you go up along Interstate 15 all the way from basically Provo all the way up to Ogden area, it's just, doesn't matter what time of the day it is, it's really crowded and packed all the time. Particularly now here in Utah County, if you go on the north end of Utah County, up around that Lehigh, American Fork, all the Pioneer Crossing, the 2100 North area, the point of the mountain, it's just congested all the time. It's really bad during those rush hour times. And so I actually have a family member that I'm aware of who actually just moved to rural Colorado. One of the reasons she made a post of her drive from Eagle Mountain up to Draper and showing all the traffic and saying, I will not miss this drive. So that's one reason why people choose to get out of here, is they're just tired of that increased traffic that we have with all the with the population increase. Now, if you look at the state's net migration, there's actually more people moving here or coming here than are actually moving out. And so a lot of people are able to overlook some of these issues. They're not an issue to them. I think one of the biggest reasons why people choose to move here for sure is the outdoor lifestyle. I mean, we have the Mighty Five with the 5 national parks. You've got Zion National Park, Bryce Canyon National Park, Arches and Canyonlands and Capitol Reef. All of them from the Wasatch Front, from the Provo Orem area, are, you know, 2.5, 3.5 hours away. But those are all really close. Besides that, you have a whole bunch of other national parks in other states that are pretty close. It's not that far of a drive, maybe 6-7 hours up to Yellowstone. Same thing down to Mesa Verde in Colorado. So there's just so much outdoor lifestyle as far as the national parks go. We also have incredible state parks, beautiful mountains. Of course, you got the Wasatch Mountains, so we've got all kinds of reservoirs up in those mountains, all kinds of hiking trails, mountain biking trails, ATV trails. There's just so much outdoor activity and recreation that people love participate in here in Utah. And of course, you've got all the ski resorts. You've got 4 ski resorts up in the canyons in Salt Lake Valley. Of course, in Provo, you've got the Sundance Ski Resort. A couple nice ski resorts up out of Ogden Valley. So there's multiple ski resorts. Of course, you got Park City, which is just a short drive from Salt Lake City with the beautiful ski resorts in that area. So just that outdoor lifestyle is just world class, and that brings a lot of people here to Utah. Okay, I also talked about some of the reasons why I choose to move away from here, and that would be the predominant religion and also conservative political leanings of many of the people in the state. That's also a lot of reason why people move here. They get tired of living in blue states or states where they just feel like traditional family values are not taught as much. And they just really love the family-oriented atmosphere here in Utah, which is definitely something that's very much pushed by the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, is to have safe, clean family environments. And so a lot of people choose to move here for that reason. So for them, it's a pro instead of a con. For those of you thinking of moving to the Utah area, where are you moving from, and what's the reason why you're leaving your current city or state? I'm truly curious, so make sure to let me know down below. And frankly, I think one of the biggest draws that's bringing a lot of people here to Utah is just the job market. A lot of states around us that are struggling, but the economy here in Utah is very strong. People are still buying and selling. Even though the housing inventory is going through the roof and it's considered to be a buyer's market, there's still quite a bit of activity going on in the home buying and selling market, because there's a lot of job opportunities here in Utah in all the different sectors. In healthcare, particularly in the tech sector, you've got the Silicon Slopes area there in the Lehigh Draper area that provides a lot lot of well-paying tech jobs. You've got multiple universities with good paying jobs. You got the University of Utah, Brigham Young University, Utah Valley University, Weber State University. Down south, you have Southern Utah University, and then the University in St. George. They just changed their name, and I can't remember their name. Anyway, you've got multiple universities with good paying jobs. Of course, there's also good paying jobs in the travel and leisure and, the ski industry and all that. So that's just a huge draw. It brings people here to the state of Utah as the job market and economy is still really strong. So yes, some folks are moving away, but many are still choosing Provo for its lifestyle, economy, and the community. It's not a mass exodus, it's a shift. And if you're wondering whether Provo could be your next home, I put together a free relocation guide that breaks down everything what it's like to live, sleep, eat, work, and play here in Utah. It will be in the description down below. Again, my name is Scott Walters with Best USA Realty. I am your Utah YouTubing realtor. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and tap on that notification bell so you can stay current every time I drop another video about living in Utah. If you found this video helpful, go check out the cost of living in Utah for 2025, and it should be up here above. And with that, we'll catch you on the next video.